Eating a healthy and balanced diet is crucial for maintaining good health, both physically and mentally. Have you ever tried to eat healthier but found out it only made you gain weight? That brings us to the topic of our discussion, how to eat and not gain weight. Hello Saints, welcome to another spectacular episode of Catholic Faith Forum. I am Evelyn Iwonha, and on today's episode, we shall be discussing everything about making healthy food choices. Joining me in this discussion is a very special guest we'll meet when we return from this break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and if you're joining us for the first time, this is Catholic Faith Forum. I am Evelyn Iwonha, and our discussion today is centered on how to make healthy food choices. It's my utmost pleasure to introduce to you my guest of honor in person of Dr. Anita Williams. You're very much welcome, ma.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and you're radiating confidence. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
And my viewers can agree with me that I love your smile. Your smile is lovely. Thank you, ma. Dr. Anita Williams is a lecturer in the University of Lagos. She specializes in natural product chemistry, and she is married and blessed with 3 children. She's a formulator and the CEO of Cedar Natural Beauty, and she owns a YouTube channel, Ask Dr. Anita, where healthy lifestyle is being discussed. Very much welcome, ma. Thank you. Thank you so much. So how long have you had this interest? Since when did you have this passion to pursue everything that has to do with healthy life choices?
Thank you very much. The passion started when I was doing my master's. Okay. It was natural product. Yeah. So I got to know about essential oil. Okay. So when I proceeded for my PhD, I was working on skin infection. Wow. Then I had problem of acne. Wow. So within the time, some of the professors were asking me, Anita, you're working on skin infection, treat yourself first. So that's where the passion started. So now when I traveled to South Africa for my bench work, as I was working on my project, I was also researching on how to manage acne. Wow. So from there, the passion into knowing that the problem I had with acne had to do with my lifestyle, wow, inside out. Really? So that's where Cedar Natural Beauty was battered, and from there, the passion for natural healthy living commenced.
How did it make you feel when you realized that you were overcoming that problem?
I was excited, and that's why I decided to share it with the world.
Wow. So I'm so sure that so many young people that have been impacted through your work and your passion are not, they will be willing to see you, they will be expectant, they will be excited to see that they have a role model on our show today. Thank you very much, ma, for making effort to be here. Thank you for the sacrifice. Okay. So let's get to it. What does it mean to eat healthy?
Thank you. Some people misunderstand the concept of healthy eating. Really? Healthy eating is not about eating balanced diets. Okay. It's beyond that, because there's a saying that one man's meal is another man's poison. Yes. Because there might be a healthy meal you're eating, but you feel like you're reacting to that. Eating healthy means eating with respect to your blood types, because you're as unique as your blood.
Wow. So when you say one is as unique as their blood, does it mean just before, okay, if a woman she has children, she has to test all of them and be sure that, okay, this food is that what you're trying to say?
Now what I'm saying is that each of the blood type have their uniqueness that has to do with even their meal. Take example, if your blood type B, this blood type is not African origin. So when they deal with something like chicken, they start reacting to them. And some of them have problem like autoimmune disease because of the problem of chicken and tomato. Wow. But the same chicken and tomato blood type, or which is African origin, can deal with it without any problem. So there's so much we need to know about our meals and our blood types.
So why do you think it's important to be able to have this knowledge of blood type in accordance with the kinds of meals suitable for it?
Yes, because if this knowledge is known, so many things will be prevented. So many diseases will be prevented. Because some of the things you are suffering is because of what you eat. Every food you have, you see, contains lectin. And lectin is what interacts with your blood. So when this lectin entered into your bloodstream and there's no compatibility, they start working against your system, and that's why you start falling sick. So when we understand all this, we live life without being sick and also live life healthy. Remember, if you look at the Bible, God have given us herbs and seeds for food. So it means that when your food becomes your medicine, you will not need medicine.
Wow. So the concept of 6 classes of food, the carbohydrate, the proteins, are those not necessary too in considering or in determining, okay, this diet is healthy for me?
Very well. They are very important, but beyond that, now grains are very good, but not all grains will be good with respect to your blood type. Like blood type O that builds on corn and wheat will end up having diabetes because the lectin in this corn and wheat is not compatible with their system, becomes poisonous in their system. So, but unlike blood type A, they can deal with that corn and wheat. So if you're in a family where we have blood type O and A, and they are feasting on corn and grain, you realize that one person will end up with diabetes and the other person will be fine. In terms of lifestyle, you realize that some people will fast for a long period of time. Yes. Others will come out with ulcer, while others will be fine. Yes. This has to do with their blood type. Blood type O has acidic stomach. So when you deprive yourself of water, fasting without water, you're increasing the acidic content of your stomach. You're going to end up with ulcer. Whereas blood type A has alkaline system. So when they fast for 100 days, they are fine. Nothing will happen to them. So when you're when you're living your life using somebody as your standard, not understanding their uniqueness, you end up being a victim, while the other person will not be.
Thank you very much, Ma. But before we go on, it's now time to find out who the saint of this week is. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Our saint of the week is Saint Nicholas of Tolentino. Saint Nicholas was born in 1245 in Saint Angelo, Pontano, Italy. He took his name from Saint Nicholas of Myra, at whose shrine his parents prayed to have a child. His parents were pious people, living contentedly with the little they had. His mother was a good example of a holy person, and Nicholas lived his life trying to emulate this virtue. Due to his exceptional academic performances, he was made a canon in the St. Saviour's Church. He later joined the Augustinian order at the young age of 18, and 7 years later, he was ordained a priest. He gained a reputation as a preacher and a confessor. He spent his early years as a friar, teaching the gospel in various houses within the province, and spent his last 30 years as a confessor, benefactor of the needy, and minister to the sick in Tolentino. Nicholas was a kind and charitable person who extended lavish hospitality to guests and those in need. He also showed compassion and generosity for his monastic brethren. He also acquired the respect of everyone with his life of penance, fidelity to the common life, and prayer. He was given the title Patron of the Souls in Purgatory for his love of the faithfully deceased and his prayers for their salvation. He is said to have cured the sick with bread, over which he prayed to Mary, the Mother of God. He gained a reputation as a wonder worker. Nicholas died on September the 10th in 1305 after a long illness, and his body is venerated in his basilica in Tolentino. He was canonized by Pope Eugene IV in 1446, and his relics were rediscovered in 1926 at Tolentino. Saint Nicholas of Tolentino, pray for us. Welcome back, and our discussion is still centered on how to eat and not gain weight. Just before the break, Ma, you made us to understand that it is important to understand the components of food that are compatible with our blood type. But in a situation where someone does not have the financial support or the financial stability to be able to, go to the hospital and carry out these tests and, probably, or even the time. Imagine someone that is a banker or stuff and, the person just have to eat. These days, people just eat because, let me not die. I don't want hunger to kill me. In that kind of situation, what do you tell to such a person?
First, it is wrong for an individual to stay without knowing his or her blood type. That's why whenever there is case of emergency, we lose so many patients. Because when you don't know your blood group should be your genetic identity. You're supposed to know it as you know your name. So when, in case of emergency, nobody needs to go and do tests to validate. And then lives can be saved. Now, assuming you don't know and you are eating, whenever you eat anything that your system is not accepting, you are going to feel it. At times, there's some food you eat, it's like it's taking a whole lot of years to digest. Yes. I remember myself when I like feasting on corn. Wow. Then whenever I eat corn, I realize that this corn will stay all day. I will still feel heavy. Even when I want to eat, I realize that the one I've eaten I've not digested. Until I realize that by virtue of my blood type, I cannot digest corn. So when I stop it, that feeling stopped. So whenever you eat anything, you listen to your body. Your body will tell you whether this thing is good or not. So when you eat some things and you're bloating, you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling some unwellness, it means that your system is saying, this is a foreign to me. So you need to eliminate that from your diet. Then go and find out what you are by virtue of your blood type.
So even if what the system is rejecting or is responding negatively to, what if that's the only available thing? Imagine that was like corn was the only thing, but you know corn too can also be, it cannot be boiled or roasted. So like how would someone just like deny himself of that particular food when that's the only thing that is available?
Now there's something about portion size. If you know that this is the only thing available, you don't indulge in it, you just take a little of it to make sure you're okay for that moment. That's just that, because when you indulge in stuff like that, you're doing your system much more harm than good. In fact, I always advise people it's better for you to be hungry than eating the wrong food, because fasting might not kill you, but eating the wrong food will be very poisonous to your system.
How true? Like I just really want you to expatiate on that eating the wrong food, because somebody that doesn't have that time to pay attention to that, okay, this food is, some people actually respond to food that their body is not compatible with, either by diarrhea or when they constipate or even when they vomit. So like such persons, we just feel like, okay, I'm purging, let me just take this drug. I'm constipating, let me just use this. So if somebody doesn't think, some people will not believe or will not understand that, okay, this food might not be compatible with me. I just feel like maybe I'm not feeling fine. So what would you say to such persons?
Yeah, information is life. Yeah. I didn't know this before now, but when I got to know it, I felt better. I want to use myself as an example. Initially, by virtue of my blood type, I'm always a victim of malaria. There's no month that will pass, or in 2 weeks, I will not go and treat malaria. It got to the extent that whenever I visit the health center in University of Lagos, they will tell me that you are fine. But I know within me, I'm dying. So I have a customer that is a pharmacist, so every time I'm always there. So a time came when I got to know about lifestyle, a blood type diet. I stopped visiting the pharmacy. Wow. So one of the days when I passed by, they said, we don't see you again. I told them, because I've discovered the missing link in my health. And because of that, I don't visit pharmacy again, because I've made my food to become my medicine. Now, in cases like that, I also have another encounter. There was a woman I saw. This woman was having diabetes. And when I saw her, she was almost collapsing. She walked with drugs all over her. Wow. And she was telling me that she has been taking these drugs, but she's not feeling well. Then I was led to ask her, what is your blood group? She said she's blood type O. I said, okay, what is your major meal? She said because of this diabetes that is in their family, she has been feasting on wheat so that she will not be victim. I said, this wheat is the cause of this diabetes. She said, why? Even the doctors are telling her to be taking wheat. I said, no. Because your system cannot metabolize wheat, the lectin in that wheat is poisonous to your blood. And that's why medicine cannot heal you. Just stop taking wheat. Couple of weeks later, when I saw this woman, the woman that will walk and be shaking, the woman is agile, she's so happy, she's so full of life. Wow. And because she has eliminated the poison in her meal, and she's living healthy. Now, the truth is that when you take poison, medicine cannot redeem you from poison. Wow. Because all the tablets you're taking have their own side effect, which is also poison. So when you're adding poison to poison, your life will become worse. So the best thing is for you to discover who you are by virtue of your blood type. Try to eliminate the things that your system is saying no to, so you'll be free.
I never knew that blood type incompatibility with food was anything this important. Even now that you mentioned lectin and you said it's present in wheat, how many, or would you give us other examples that other examples of food that lectin will be found?
Now, maybe I should give you a little history. Okay. Now, food, every fruit has a lectin. The lectin is what reacts with your body, and that's what helps your body in absorbing the nutrients in whatever you're taking in. Now, if you go to my YouTube channel, I made a video on everything that has to do the history of our blood type. The world originated from Africa. Wow. And that's where we were hunters. Our ancestors were hunters. And because population were increasing and they couldn't feed themselves because the animal was not enough to feed, that's why people start migrating. So blood type O are Africans. They are hunters. They are the blood type that can deal well with meat. So when population start migrating, they migrated to Asia. When they got to Asia, there was no much meat as in Africa. So they started experimenting on grains. And that's where we have blood type A, which are vegetarians. Wow. Further migration migrated to a place where they call Mahalayan, which is the present Pakistan and Indian. These are where we have blood type A and B. They are combo of A. Okay, that's where blood B migrated. These blood B are neither vegetarian nor hunters. So they are balanced between A and O. So the population started increasing and they start intermingling, intermarrying. So that's where we have blood type A and B. These blood type A and B, they are neither vegetarian nor hunters. So they are combo of A and B. So they don't have any unique identity. So because of this, anybody that is blood type B that is in Africa, that live life of an African, will end up having some problems. Yeah. Now, there's some research I started undergoing. I realized that blood type B, because they are not Africans, when they start eating gari and fufu, they will have problem of diabetes if not care is not taken.
It's now time for the Know Your Faith session. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We often tend to compare vocations, just like the comparison of farmers and teachers, which we debated back then in school when we were much younger. Hi fam, I am Elefati and this is Know Your Faith. Sometimes we compare single and married life vocations so as to figure out which is better than the other. I mean, that's quite amusing because we are all called separately to different vocations. Before our vocation first, God has a purpose for us. He wants to use us to do His will. Now, vocation refers to the various means through which God wants us to do His will. God's first call for every person is to simply follow Him. You were created to be in relationship with God, and that is His greatest desire for you. As your relationship with God grows, He will continue to draw you deeper into this relationship and call you to become more like Christ, to love Him more, and to love others through service. And that service is vocation, which is either to the single or married life. You can't say anyone is better than the other because both are different forms of service to God and humanity. Both involve sacrifices. Both are a call to fruitfulness, and both of them are ways of leading people to salvation. For instance, by appreciating the gift and beauty of married life, we are able to understand more about what it means to be a priest or consecrated person. In each vocation, the person lives a life of faith and prayer to continually grow in relationship with God. The church recognizes that each vocation is equal in the sense that no vocation is better or worse than any other. However, because God calls you to a particular vocation, whether married or single life, that vocation is the best one for you and the one that will help you fulfill God's will for your life and make you happy. That's all I have for you on today's episode. If you have questions or contributions, feel free to share in the comments so we can learn together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Till next time, be bold, be Catholic.
Welcome back. Our discussion is still centered on how to eat and not gain weight. Just before the break, Ma, you made mention of blood type B when they migrate here to Nigeria or to Africa and they begin to consume gari and fufu, and they now have a lot of problems. There's this thing that people say that gari saves life. Do you agree? Because the way you say, I'm forced to conclude that, okay, Gary doesn't save all life. Because if it's going to be like a problem or be poisonous to some people and, you know, be some people's favorite, or it will be compatible with some people, what would you have to say on that?
Thank you very much. The truth is that there's no straight cut to everything. So Gary saves lives, not for everyone, that for African origin. So for blood type B, I know someone, my husband precisely, he's blood type B. So whenever he eats fufu, he will tell me that this fufu is not digesting his system. Wow. And I've seen another friend of mine that is blood type B. She said that she doesn't like eating gari because it takes a long while before it digests. These people are noticing it because they are conscious of it. Some people don't care. They don't listen to their body. And that's the problem we have in Africa. Because some people feel that, my fathers have been eating this and nothing happened to them. And that's why they feel that it's not bad. We realize that your dad might be blood type O and you might not be blood type O. Yeah. So if in a family, I've seen a family that has, like my own family, we have O and B. So if we are eating the same food for everybody, my sister was B and we didn't know that we didn't know about the issue of blood type, and she developed autoimmune disease. Wow. And she was told to eliminate so many things, even chicken that she loves so much. And as we speak today, she's fine because she eliminated those poisons from her system. So life is all about blood. Life is in the blood. So when we understand our uniqueness by virtue of our blood, we will not stress ourselves in terms of health. Another thing I notice is that by virtue of blood type O are victims of ulcer and arthritis. If you look at the percentage of people that have arthritis when they start aging, look at them, blood type O is a major. I met a woman in the market. She is my customer. So I saw her legs were like twisted. I said, what is the problem? She said, it's arthritis. I said, what are you eating? She said she loves taking tea, that she cannot sleep any night without taking tea. I said, wow, that is your problem. Eliminate tea because you cannot deal with milk. And if you look at the milk and Milo, the percentage of sugar and milk are so much there. I said, eliminate it from your diet. Instead of taking milk and Milo, take green tea before you sleep. Couple of weeks later, when I saw her, she said, when she stopped taking tea, she started feeling better. Wow. So actually, the problem was the lactic acid in the milk that is causing her that arthritis. So because her system is acidic by virtue of her blood type, anything acid is going to aggravate sickness and inflammation in her system.
I really think people need they need a health education on particularly blood group or blood type and diet, because when some people actually feel or have complaints and they get to the hospital and diagnosis is made, sometimes there's no link to their diet at all. The next thing is, okay, you're under stress, or the next thing is, okay, you're using a lot of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or sometimes it might even be, they'll say genetics or stuff. So, but how can the society become more aware? What effort can we make to ensure that people are sensitized about their diet and their blood type?
Thank you. When I got to know this blood type diet, I started a YouTube channel, which is Ask Dr. Anita, to sensitize people, because I've seen so many people that because of this issue of information that I shared with them, they were very excited about life. They were like alive again. Because some people, the problem we have because we don't know. Yeah. And since we don't know, we need to be informed. So what we need to do is, as we are talking about it, since you've gotten some idea, you also pass it on. Okay. So if I can educate you and you educate another person, before you know it, this thing will become popular, and people will be aware that everybody must know their blood group the way they know their name. When a child is born, look at the blood group. Another thing I want to talk about is there's so much to talk about on this blood group that we cannot exhaust in a day. True. Now, if you look at blood group, we have resource factor, positive and negative. Now, when you are negative resource, especially a female, is a very thing that people should be careful about. Because when a female is negative, when the person is pregnant and injection is not given to the person, she will end up having a child that has problem, mental, or this imbecile, or if she avoids that, she might end up having that as only child. And assuming she's a youth, and because of this issue of exuberance, she happened to do any abortion, she might end up not having a child all her life. So that's why we should know our blood group, the resource factor, so as to educate and guide our children as they grow. Very, very important.
I never knew that.
There's so much about life's blood type.
Wow. What external factors or additional efforts can assist with weight management?
Now, issue of weight management has to do with eating what your system cannot metabolize. Number one. Secondly, when you start your day with carbohydrates that will spike insulin in your system, is going to make you to add weight. Secondly, your eating pattern. It's wrong for you to eat and drink fluid or water at the same time because it's going to cause bloating and it's going to make you to gain stomach fat and indigestion. So that's another thing that can cause you to gain weight. Now, in the evening time, metabolism is generally low or slow. So when you eat heavy at night, you're going to gain stomach fat. When you eat when you're under stress, you know, some people when they're under stress, they eat more. Yes, you're going to gain weight. When you don't sleep at night, now not sleeping at night is going to make you to increase the cortisol. Wow. And that cortisol is going to make you to gain weight, especially stomach fat. Another thing about weight gaining is when you don't exercise. Exercise is not an optional. It's not optional for baby because I want to stay fit. Yeah. Everybody must do exercise, especially maybe walking or anything, because when you don't exercise, your metabolism is going to be naturally slow. So your eating pattern, your lifestyle, and in Africa today, we feel that when you are taking fruits, it's because of luxury. Because fruits and vegetables supposed to be part of our lifestyle. Either you make it your breakfast or you make it your dinner. The general rule I normally give people is that eat like a king in the morning, like a prince in the afternoon, and like a beggar at night. At night, your metabolism is slow, so eat as slow as you can, the smallest, and make sure you eat like 2 or 3 hours before going to bed. Eating and sleeping is another wrong thing. There's so much about weight gain and weight management that we cannot exhaust now. But these just tips of how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Another thing again about weight is that if we can learn to, if anybody has weight, want to manage weight, chia seed is another important thing that can help you manage your weight. Because like the last video I just uploaded about chia seed, if you can use it to increase your fiber content, curb your appetite, and as well as burn fat. So there's so much about weight loss and weight management that we can talk about.
In your journey, did you by any chance have any recommendation of herbs or maybe seeds or natural product that you use in, you know, overcoming some challenges that have to do with your diet and how your body responds?
Now, if you watch that YouTube channel, there are so many seeds and herbs I started talking about. Like the one I just uploaded was on chia seed. Normally, God has given us some of these greens so that we can incorporate it into our diet. So they'll be giving us the antioxidant and whatever our body needs that we cannot get from food because they are natural. So there are some level. We have black seed. Black seed they normally talk about is the seed that cure everything except death. So it's a very wonderful seed. Wow. So there are so many things. In fact, African has been blessed with so many things in plants and in plants. Imagine the bitter leaf that we neglect. The white men have discovered that bitter leaf is very healthy and it's being encapsulated. And very soon it's going to be sent to us here because we like processed food. Now, we are Africans, we don't like our lifestyle. We want to imitate the whites. And the medical expert in there, we don't have it here. And that's why we are having people dying. Wow. Because our body, our system is meant for what God has given us, natural. And that is why I'm passionate about natural, healthy lifestyle.
Wow. So finally, I would like to ask you just to like draw up your point from what you said about bitter leaf. You know that this bitter leaf, there's a way we process it when we want to use it to prepare soup or, you know, use it to make any other traditional food. You know, when they say something about washing vegetables, that if you use hot water, it's more like you are removing the main nutrient of the... But you know, bitter leaf, as the name implies, it is bitter. And sometimes we have to wash it over and over and over again. So like, when it is now used to cook, I hope it doesn't... Does it not lose some part of its major nutrient or benefit?
Truly, when you watch bitter leaf, and even the worst aspect of it is for you to cook it before you use it to cook your soup, is very wrong. Bitter leaf by the name is bitter. And remember, the bitter dose is the healing dose. So, as much as you want to reduce the tannin that is bitter in bitter leaf, you must not watch it too much, and you don't even try to cook it before using it to cook your soup. And remember, even the liquid, the extract of bitter leaf is very medicinal. So, as you're cooking your bitter leaf, don't make sure that that bitter taste is part of your soup, because that's the essence of bitter leaf.
Thank you very much, ma, for your time, and I thank you for enlightening us on this, because a lot of us, me and you watching, we do not know about all of this, but we are glad now and we are enlightened. We have now come to the end of our discussion on how to eat and not gain weight, on how to make healthy diet choices. Remember that it is important for you to be knowledgeable about your blood type. Now that you know, it is important for you to also tell someone. Thank you very much, ma, and thanks to you too. For your questions and suggestions, drop them in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any of our amazing content. And just before I forget, do not forget to follow my special guest on her YouTube channel, Ask Dr. Anita. Till next time, I remain Evelyn Iwonha. Keep being saints in jeans and shirts. Bye-bye.
Bye.